What is up, guys, and welcome back to part 7 of my F1 2016 career mode. If you missed the previous 6 episodes, then I suggest you go check those out. There will be an annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens to go check out those videos there, especially the Monaco Grand Prix, because that was a really crazy race and a great result for us. So before I spoil it, just go check that out right now. Okay, so last night in Monaco, it was a fantastic race. We managed to qualify in 6th position, which was a great result for us, especially on Legend difficulty and in a Renault. And then we just managed to drive home in the race, keep it nice and clean, and managed to get 5th position. So a very good race for us there at the Monaco Grand Prix. But we are here now at Canada, one of the easiest tracks on the F1 calendar. But, I don't think our car is set up very well for this. I know I've gone for more straight line speed across this season, the R&D, but I just didn't feel like our car was set up for this track, and you'll see a little bit later when we get into the practice. But yeah, nothing really else to talk about, so let's head into the R&D report, because I think Chris has some news for us.
Hi, I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
So there we go, the fuel efficiency part that we upgraded last night at the Monaco Grand Prix has been completed. I mean, it's not a massive upgrade and it's not really going to do a lot, but it's still nice to be there and have a little bit of an upgrade on our fuel efficiency, which means we can run it on rich mix for just a little bit longer than we could previously. Sauber F1 team have finally started to upgrade their car. They've upgraded the downforce, the chassis weight and their engine, and we have upgraded our fuel consumption. No other teams have upgraded, so Sauber have jumped up above Manor once again, and we haven't got enough R&D points. We've got enough R&D points to upgrade fuel efficiency, but we don't want to upgrade that anymore. We want to sort of go for engine or drag. So that's what we're going to wait to do, maybe after qualifying or practice, and we'll see whether we can get it done before Azerbaijan. But if we can, then that would be fantastic news. But for now, let's head into the first practice session.
Here we are, live in Montreal at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, where the teams are making final preparations before today's practice session gets underway.
So here we are in practice, just going through the track acclimatization at the moment, coming through the last couple of corners, through the last couple of gates, and we do actually manage to complete this. We actually got a purple score as well, which was really good. That will really help us out in the research and development, and hopefully after this session we can have enough points to upgrade our engine ready for Azerbaijan. Then we headed into the tyre management, which was also quite easy. We managed to beat the target times, and we managed to not get perfect score up at the top on the tyre management, but we did manage to beat it, which was pretty good as well. So very well done there. Got some more R&D points to help us throughout the weekend, and then we headed into the qualifying run, and that didn't go exactly to plan. Here we go, coming in towards the third chicane on the track, down towards the corner. We just clipped the barrier there on the left hand side. Unfortunately, that was our practice session over, and yeah, so we retired from the session, lost our front left wheel, and very disappointing end to the session. But it does mean that we are right at the back of the field, and we've got a lot to do over the rest of the weekend to push our car back up into the sort of midfield area. Jolyon Palmer also down at the back of the field, sort of suggesting what I said earlier, that our car is not quite up to speed at this Canadian Grand Prix, which is a bit surprising because we have set it up for straight line speed. So it's a little bit worrying going towards Azerbaijan and of course Austria. And unfortunately, we also weren't able to complete the qualifying run in the practice sessions, which means we missed out on a few R&D points through that as well. But we will bounce back as the weekend goes on, and hopefully we can get a good result in the race. But let's head into qualifying.
Good afternoon, and we hope you're ready for an exciting qualifying session as the teams make their final preparations here in Canada. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximizing top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
Top speed is a key factor for this circuit. Even if you can achieve the same lap time as someone running less wing than you, chances are you'll find overtaking difficult if you have too much drag.
Right then, the first qualifying session of the Canadian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, it is raining outside, so we've got a little bit of weather to deal with, but hopefully it won't be too bad. We'll be looking to get out of Q1 as soon as we possibly can, but we're just going to have to wait and see how it goes. Last time we did a qualifying session in the rain, it didn't exactly go to plan, so yeah, we'll be looking for better this time around. But here we are ending our first lap here in the qualifying session, down towards the line, looking in the top left-hand corner of the screen compared to Daniel Ricciardo's time. It doesn't look like a very good lap at all. It's a 1:28.835, 3.7 seconds off the pace of Daniel Ricciardo, and right now we are at the back of the field. But coming around the final corner once again, we're already 1 second up on our previous Delta time. Down towards the line, it's going to be about 1:27, yes, a 1:27.5, but it is still not enough to move ourselves off the back of the grid. So we are really, really struggling in this qualifying session. Through the final corner once again. 1 second up on our delta. Surely this has got to be enough to go above Marcus Ericsson. Down towards line. What is the time going to be? It is enough to go above Marcus Ericsson, but it's only 1:26.725. We're 1.7 seconds off the pace of the leader at the moment. So that's really, really disappointing. Now we've been bumped down to 22nd place after all the other drivers have come out. And down to cross the line once again. 2 seconds up on our delta time. The time's going to be a 1:26.5, and it's still only good enough for back of the grid. 2.3 seconds off the leaders, but check flags out. We've got one more lap left to go in this qualifying session. We need to get a really, really good clean lap. So far, 1 second up on our delta time, but a really, really terrible exit out of the final corner, down towards line. What is the time going to be good enough for? I think it was an improvement, but how much of an improvement was it? 20th position, which means we are out of Q1 once again, just like the Spanish Grand Prix where it was raining. We are once again out of qualifying in the first stage, which is really, really disappointing. And just looking at the times, Jolyon Palmer managed to get 16th, but just looking at the times between us, I was only less than that. 6 thousandths of a second slower than Felipe Nasr, and I missed out on Q2 by just under 2 tenths, which is a little bit disappointing. And I reckon if it was dry, I would have definitely been into Q2. Not sure about Q3. I know we kind of did struggle as the weekend went on, but yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see how this goes in the race. We are starting in 20th position, but it is supposed to be dry for the race. So hopefully we can make a couple of positions down towards the start and just sort of progress from there. Just go through, just get past as many drivers as possible. Try out a little bit of a different strategy. And yeah, see how the race goes. So without any further ado, let's head into the race for the Canadian Grand Prix. Just before we head into the race, though, unfortunately, we have lost the rivalry against Felipe Massa. So very, very disappointed. Good qualifying session could have helped us out there, but unfortunately, Felipe Massa had a brilliant qualifying session, getting up into 6th here at the Canadian Grand Prix, and we missed out by 4 against Felipe Massa, and unfortunately that means that we have not won there, and we've also lost out on research and development points as well. But let's head into the race.
There is, as I look out of my commentary box window, a very large and very excited crowd here today, eagerly anticipating another memorable race. Lewis Hamilton took his maiden win on this circuit in 2007. Jenson Button came from last place to win here in 2011. And there's certainly no shortage of drama on offer here at the Canadian Grand Prix. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. It's a favourite for fans and drivers alike then here in Canada. We're used to seeing the unexpected happen here, and with me today to enjoy it all is Anthony Davidson, a man who knows firsthand the surprises that can pop up in this race.
I do indeed. I had a good chance at some points here in 2007, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. My old colleague Takuma Sato, though, he managed to finish 6th, so the team took home 3 valuable points, and that was a big boost to everyone at the time. I'm not sure I can think of anywhere else that so consistently provides the kind of late race excitement we get here. Obviously, towards the end of the Grand Prix, the brakes are getting worn, maybe the weather situation has changed, so there's a lot to keep fighting for all the way up to that final corner.
Our grid position is not as high as we had hoped, but push hard in the race and hopefully with a bit of luck, we can finish with a positive result.
It's race day here at the Canadian Grand Prix, and it was a very, very disappointing qualifying session yesterday, qualifying in 20th position right at the back of the field, and we'll be looking to bounce back in today's race, which is, of course, in the dry, so it should give us a good opportunity to try and get past as many drivers as we possibly can. There's only 2 drivers behind us, so we can't really lose out on positions, but looking at the race strategy for today, starting on the soft tyres, going on to the ultra softs towards the end, and then just hammering some laps on those. I don't think we're going to go for the aggressive strategy, just because I don't feel like we really need to, so I think we're just going to go for the high tyre management one, try and get track position on the other guys, and hope that that's enough to maybe get into the points. I suppose from P20, getting into like 14th place would be a good result for us, but without any further ado, let's head into this race. So on board with myself at the moment as we get underway for the formation lap, once again being really, really far at the back of the field. We've got to wait for all the other drivers to get started on this formation lap, and they are starting to pull away now, and here we go starting our procedure to warm up our tyres. Straight away, weaving across the side of the track. And we've got Felipe Nasr ahead of us with Rio Haryanto ahead of him. But yeah, just trying to warm up our tyres, warm up our brakes, and now getting ready for the start of the race. The lights start to come on. It's 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix. The lights were on for a very, very long time at the start. We've already jumped Felipe Nasr on the start with a great start. Now down towards turn 1, under braking straight away up into 16th place, side by side with a Haas. Still side by side round turn 1. Looks like we've got the job done on him. And up next for us is Sergio Perez. And then our teammate of Jolyon Palmer as we go up the inside of Sergio Perez in towards turn 4 and then 5. And that is job done. Jolyon Palmer going slow on the exit of turn 5 in towards turn 6 and 7. Running it out wide. That allows Jolyon Palmer back up the inside. Now we're going to try up the inside in towards this next left-hander. Now into the right, Jolyon Palmer still on our inside, side by side between the two teammates. I'm not going to be too aggressive against my teammate because obviously we want to try and get double point scoring in the Constructors' Championship. I don't think that's going to happen here today just because the Renault isn't exactly the quickest car. But for now, we're up into 13th after a great move on our teammate. And we'll now be hunting down the McLaren of Jensen and Button, who has actually now got past Nico Hülkenberg, who we are on the back of now. So going down in towards turn 1, using the slipstream and the DRS. Nico Hülkenberg squeezing us over to the pit wall, but it looks like we've got the job done up the inside. We've locked up, gone very, very deep into the corner. Nico Hülkenberg trying the cutback move. We're squeezing him out on the outside like he did to us down the pit wall. And Nico Hülkenberg, unfortunately, getting in position once again. But we're now going to have another crack at him going down in towards the chicane. Looks like it's going to be job done before we've even got there. Under braking, and there we go. Job done on Nico Hülkenberg. And we are up into P12 once again after lap 4 in this race. But now we're under pressure from the other Force India of Sergio Perez. Going down in towards the chicane. He has got DRS, he has got slipstream. He's also on a softer compound of tyres than us, hence why he is going faster and taking the left, then the right. We're just able to defend our position from the Force India driver, but now going down in towards turn 1. Sergio Perez is quite a way behind us, so I think we have definitely got this move done. But no, we've run wide in towards turn 1 and turn 2. That's going to allow Sergio Perez to maybe have a run on us. He's done the cutback move, and he's got a very, very easy position there. Down in towards turn 3, in towards turn 4 and 5, and we're not going to have the opportunity to overtake, but we might have a good opportunity down in towards the chicane, under braking. No, getting very, very close behind that Force Indian, having to take the runoff area, have to go in between the gap between the sleeping policeman and the barrier, and unfortunately we lost that position to Sergio Perez. But now on board with Kimi Raikkonen as the Ferraris do battle here at the Canadian Grand Prix, and oh no, Kimi Raikkonen's engine has blown up. And that is the end of his race at today's Canadian Grand Prix. That was looking like it was going to be an exciting battle between him and Sebastian Vettel. But unfortunately, that is his race over as we are now under pressure from the Haas of Romain Grosjean, who's trying to get 12th position away from us as we go down under braking into the chicane, taking the left-hand side, clipping that apex, having to go maybe a little bit over the curb, but otherwise there would have been a collision between me and Romain Grosjean. So great driving between the both of us. And once again, Romain Grosjean going for the move down in towards the right-hander. And he's just not able to go for the move as of yet. But he's moving to the left-hand side. He's got the slipstream. He's got the DRS once again as well. Down in towards turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? I'm behind him at the moment through the left-hander. And it's side-by-side action between me and the Haas of Romain Grosjean. Who's going to come out on top? Down towards turn 4 and 5. It's still side-by-side between the two of us. Who's going to come out on top? Through the right-hander. I'm taking the inside line. Romain Grosjean runs it a little bit wide, and he gives us position. That is holding on to P12 once again in this race. We're on board with the manner of Pascal Wehrlein, following the Sauber of Felipe Nasr. So here he goes, going for a move down in towards the chicane, pulls over to the right-hand side. Fairly easy move at the moment for the manner of Pascal Wehrlein, going side-by-side. AI doing great racing at the moment between both of them. And that sort of going over the curve for Felipe Nasr has put him under pressure from the other manner of Rio Haryanto, who's now possibly going to try and move around the outside in towards turn 1. He gives each other the room. And now in towards turn 2, Felipe Nasr and Rio Haryanto still going side by side down in towards turn 4. Is this going to be the same sort of move that happened between me and Romain Grosjean? No. Both drivers still going side by side in towards left-hander. No, Rio Haryanto has put his car into the wall, and that is his race over. His wheel has fallen off, but now going down in towards the hairpin, under pressure from Romain Grosjean once again. He's trying a very dive bomb move up the inside. We're going to try the cutback move on him into the hairpin, side by side with Romain Grosjean once again on lap 16 of this Canadian Grand Prix. This is the battle for 11th place at the moment. Romain Grosjean has got the move done for the time being, but we're following in the slipstream. We haven't got DRS because he has got that. So going down in towards the chicane, it's going to be side by side with between me and Roman Grosjean, who's going to come out on top, and I've just about nicked it through the chicane. So there we go, remaining in P11 once again. Just need to catch up to one more driver, and then we will get into the points. But at the moment, we have got a big train of cars right behind us. And at the front of that train is Sergio Perez. So he'll be looking to go for a move in towards the chicane, possibly. He's following in the slipstream and the DRS, but he's not able to get close enough to go for a move in towards there. But that gives him a good opportunity to possibly go for a move in towards turn 1. So here he goes on board with Sergio Perez in towards turn 1, going for the move on the left-hand side. Looks like he's got the job done for the time being, but we've got a little bit of a gap up the inside in towards turn 2. Still side by side with the Force India drive. We're giving it a lot more power compared to what we did with Roman Grosjean. Side by side. Is he going to do the same as Roman Grosjean? Yes, he does. Gives us way too much room. And unfortunately for him, he has now lost our position to Roman Grosjean as well. So here we are on board with the Haas driver of Roman Grosjean. Sergio Perez once again goes for another move on myself. In towards turn 1, side by side once again, but this time I've got the job done before we've got into turn 2. And Sergio Perez now having to go side by side with the Haas driver of Roman Grosjean. Just like the battle that sort of happened between the Manor and the Sauber earlier on. Into the right hand, is still side by side. Will Roman Grosjean hit the wall? He does! He does hit the wall, but unfortunately for him, it's only a little bit of front wing damage, and then he's sort of stopping in the middle of the track, and he actually gets disqualified from this. So that is how Roman Grosjean ended his race. But now through the right-hander. No, we're not going through the right-hander. We're actually going through the pit lane. So here we go. Our first pit stop in this race, and our only pit stop in this race, because the tyre wear around Canada isn't actually too bad. So we should be able to get to the end of the race on these ultra soft tyres. We're actually going one lap earlier than the other guys, just because we wanted to sort of do an undercut, because there were a couple of guys that pitted a couple of laps before us, so we just wanted to try and protect ourselves from them. But I'm not too sure whether it happened. I think it was actually there's actually the two guys coming past now. So it's my teammate Jolyon Palmer and the manner of Pascal Wehrlein, who are going to come out side by side just behind my teammate. But we're going to have a good drive out this corner, side by side down in towards turn 3 and turn 4. Side by side with Jolyon Palmer, who's going to come out on top. I've given him the room. I'm going to try maybe a cutback move in towards these next couple of corners. Not quite made it possible through there. So this might have to be a dive bomb move up the inside in towards this next corner, which we do. Up the inside on Jolyon Palmer, running it wide, but just about keeping it on the black stuff. And there we go, up into P14 and hunting down Pascal Wehrlein, who is up next. We're on board with the Sauber of Felipe Nasr, who is just behind this battle that we are having at the moment, going down in towards the chicane. And Felipe Nasr engine has blown up. So that's the second driver in this race to have an engine failure. And that is the end of Felipe Nasr's race there. But we are now hunting down Pascal Wehrlein on lap 27. Got the slipstream, got the DRS, going up the inside in towards turn 1, side by side with the Manor driver. Surely that's job done. No, he's got the inside line in towards turn 2. We've run it a little bit too wide, having to be late on the throttle, still side by side with the Manor driver. So they are so much quicker in a straight line. So that's how they've got a good drive out of the corner, but unfortunately not getting position there and having just to settle behind Pascal Wehrlein just for the time being. Now we cut ahead to a little bit later on this lap, and there's a slow Fernando Alonso going ahead of us. And oh no, Pascal Wehrlein has gone straight into the back of Fernando Alonso. He is out of the race, and that is an easy 2 positions gained for us. But now apparently we have to give position back to Fernando Alonso for an illegal overtake under yellow flags, which is absolutely stupid because he's going at a snail's pace. And now they finally get rid of that and we can get back on with our race. But unfortunately we've lost out a lot of time to the guys in front of us, and probably lost out to them in the pit stop. But here we go, having a look at a replay on board with Pascal Wehrlein. He just doesn't seem to lift off and worry about Fernando Alonso. Goes straight into the back of him, puts himself into the wall, and that is both Manor drivers out of today's race. So very, very disappointing for Manor in today's race. But now on board with my teammate Jolyon Palmer, who's following very, very closely behind me right now as we go down in towards the hairpin. He's following in the slipstream, pulling over to the right-hand side. Is he going to try and move up the inside into the hairpin? Yes, he does. And we're going to try maybe a cutback move once again, like we did on Roman Grosjean, which we have done. But Jolyon Palmer seeming to get a better drive out of the corner. Maybe we were just a little bit too late on the throttle, and that is a great move there by Jolyon Palmer to get up into 12th position. But we're following in the slipstream of our teammate, and could be possibly going for a move down in towards the final chicane, which we do side by side with our teammate. We're going to give him loads of room because obviously we do not want a collision with him. And there we go, job done on Jolyon Palmer. But now I think he might be under pressure from Esteban Gutierrez, which he is, going down in towards turn 1. Esteban Gutierrez has the inside line. Jolyon Palmer giving him the room. They're going side by side in towards turn 1. There's a Mercedes, I think, of Lewis Hamilton right behind him. So they are going to be blue flagged at the moment. I think Jolyon Palmer has moved out of the way, which he has done. Jolyon Palmer moves out of the way of Lewis Hamilton. And is he going to do something a little bit cheeky here? Following the slipstream of Lewis Hamilton. And when Esteban Gutierrez gives the position to the race leader, is Jolyon Palmer just going to drive by and take that position away from him? Let's just watch on board with my teammate. So going down in towards the chicane, Esteban Gutierrez moves over to the right-hand side. And there we go. Jolyon Palmer just says thank you very much and moves up into 13th position in this race. And now we are getting lapped by Lewis Hamilton. So we're just going to pull over to the left-hand side. Let the Mercedes driver go past. And then we follow in the slipstream and try and just get probably a good lap time in this race. So we're going down in towards the final chicane. We're going to brake a little bit early just because we don't want to go into the back of the race leader, and he's coming into the pits anyway. What was the point of letting him through? What is the point of him coming into the pits anyway? Because it's lap 33. The race is over, but down towards the final couple of corners now, and we are under pressure from my teammate once again and Esteban Gutierrez as we go down into the final chicane. We just need to make sure that we have track position on both these guys. Going into the final chicane, we've got a good line. Just need to defend a perfect line through that corner, which we have done. Now down this straight, has Esteban Gutierrez got enough to get the move done? I don't think so. It's going to be 12th position in this race. No points, but a good position after starting in 20th.
Brilliant stuff from Mercedes today. That's another historic win. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, tyre management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes then are on top today. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
It's a difficult one, but I'll have to go for the Renault driver. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
So a decent result there at the Canadian Grand Prix, starting in 20th position and finishing in 12th place, and also getting Anthony Davidson's driver of the day, which is really, really good news. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, so 12th position in this race. Nico Rosberg went on to win it with Lewis Hamilton in 2nd, Max Verstappen in 3rd. Sebastian Vettel finished in 4th, with Danny Kvyat up into 5th place for Toro Rosso, so that is a very, very good result for him. Valtteri Bottas in 6th, with Daniel Ricciardo in 7th. Jenson Button 8th, Felipe Massa in 9th, and Carlos Sainz in 10th. Sergio Perez just ahead of us in 11th, and we finished the race in 12th. So it was a good race for us. Now we had some very, very good battles as well. Lots of battles in that race, which was very, very exciting. Esteban Gutierrez finished in 13th, with Jolyon Palmer, my teammate, in 14th. Then we had the guys who did not finish, of Pascal Wehrlein, Felipe Nasr, Rio Haryanto, Kimi Räikkönen, and Roman Grosjean getting disqualified. But let's have a look at how this race affects us in the drivers' standings. And we are still in 7th place on 28 points, because obviously no points scored here today. Carlos Sainz only got 1 point, so he is only 4 points ahead of us, but then it starts to heat up. Danny Kvyat in 8th, 27. Daniel Ricciardo in 9th, 27 points. Felipe Massa in 10th, 26 points. And if Sergio Perez can get a good result as well, he could definitely be in this battle. So the battle for 6th position in the drivers' standings is really, really close at the moment between Carlos Sainz, myself, Danny Kvyat, Daniel Ricciardo, and Felipe Massa. I do expect Daniel Ricciardo to possibly get some good results in the future and possibly, and well, most definitely push up above us and take that 6th position, so it will turn into a battle for 7th. But you know, I can't really distinguish who's going to come out on top between Carlos Sainz, myself, Danny Kvyat, and Felipe Massa, because we're all sort of driving around each other. So, you know, it could be very, very exciting as the season goes on. Let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship now. And we are still in 6th position because no points scored for either of us. And Sahara Force India, I don't think they scored any points either. So they're still only 1 point behind us. Haas didn't score any points either, but I think McLaren did with Jenson Button. So McLaren are now on 16 points, 1 point behind Haas, and they haven't caught up to us as much, so they are still quite a bit behind us, which is good news, but we'll be looking to try and defend this 6th position in the Constructors' Championship. I don't think we're going to catch up to Williams because they always seem to have one driver scoring points, and some races for us we just don't have any drivers scoring points, like say the Canadian Grand Prix. So we need to improve those results for both of us. But that is it for today's Canadian Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. So a decent race there today at the Canadian Grand Prix. Just a little bit disappointed that we didn't get any points, but we now have enough research points to upgrade our engines. That is what we're going to do. We're going to upgrade our engine. That should put us probably level with Toro Rosso in the vehicle performance comparison. So that's very, very good. As long as Toro Rosso don't upgrade at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, then yeah, we should be level with them on R&D. And next, we'll be trying to close up on Williams and Red Bull. But Red Bull, I reckon, should have some good upgrades. Ferrari's still neck and neck with Mercedes at the moment in the research and development race. And yeah, that's it for this episode. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. We're going to have so much Formula 1 content across this whole entire week. And, of course, my career mode coming to you every single day for the whole entire Season 1. Will be daily uploads for Season 1. Season 2 we might do every other day, but it might still be every day. We'll just see how that goes. But yeah, that is it for today's Canadian Grand Prix. I will see you next time at the European Grand Prix at Azerbaijan, the new track on the game. But until then, it's goodbye from me.